This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
What if I told you you only have 12 hours to legally have sex?
To finding true love, or just like a good guy.
From the director of Easy A and Anyone But You.
This whole thing is nuts.
There's nothing traditional about this night.
On August 7th, the clock starts on the summer's biggest rom-com.
I'm Owen.
Allie.
What about you and me?
Monica Barbaro, Callum Turner.
I've been told I'm a 7.
By who? Your mom?
Nah, she thinks I'm a 10.
One night only. Rated R. Only in theaters August 7th.
Hello there, and welcome to The Best Worst, a celebration of the best and the worst of the television we love. I'm Joseph Fink.
And I'm Meg Bashwinner.
You are Meg Bashwinner.
And we love TV. So we created the show to explore what we all love about popular TV shows by watching both the IMDb viewer best rated and worst rated episodes of a quintessential series.
It is hard to say IMDb viewer.
It's hard to say IMDb.
Yeah.
And then anything afterwards.
That is true.
It's like I am DB.
And we're doing this because, partly there's a lot of shows that we haven't watched or haven't seen in a very long time. And it's interesting to revisit it in this very hyper-focused way.
Yeah. Why not make a job out of watching TV with your husband?
Well, you're going to do it anyway. Each of these shows on this podcast must adhere to two set of rules. One is they have to have at least 100 episodes. So, Breaking Bad, we're not going to cover it. Game of Thrones, we're not going to cover it. I want to say Game of Thrones had 99 episodes, so just barely not going to cover it. And then we avoid finales and usually premieres just because the big plot heavy ones tend to be more heavily rated than they maybe warrant. And we want to see the show at its best, not its most important story moment.
Yeah.
Although this one, the best was a big story moment.
Yeah, this best was a big story moment. Well, ER, there's always a big story moment happening.
Yeah, that's why I say A, it's in the middle of a season, so it's not a premiere or finale. And B, yeah, this is just a pretty constant plot churn. It's got that soap opera plot, so you're never going to have a completely standalone.
Yeah. Oh, people are constantly dying. People are constantly being born. It's just like life.
It's just like life. So we've already talked about it, but let's get to today's show. What is today's show?
Today's show is ER, which we picked because we had been watching The Pit. So we wanted, and legally, I don't think they're the same show. I want to go on record saying that, and I will.
Yeah, there's still a lawsuit about that.
If subpoenaed, I will say that I don't believe that they're the same show in any way.
I will say that of the episodes I've seen, The Pit is significantly better.
You tell that to Michael Crichton's estate. I don't think the judge cares about quality. But anyway.
Tell them that Noah Wyle, I think, has become a much better actor in his middle age than he was as a young man.
And a better doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today's show, so it's ER, which was 15 seasons from 1994 to 2009, 331 episodes. This is the second longest running primetime medical drama in American television history, behind only Grey's Anatomy, which the show is still running. So there's no way for us to know. We can't do Grey's Anatomy yet because there's no way for us to know what the best and the worst are because it's not a complete set.
We just did Law and Order, which is also ongoing.
That's right. And we're going to do another show. But we're going to do another show.
Literally the next episode is another ongoing one.
So I guess we can come back and revisit it if these shows ever end. We decided to do ER because we were watching The Pit. I feel like we will eventually get to Grey's Anatomy. Don't you worry, for all of you Grey's Anatomy people. It's the highest awarded medical drama. ER has won 128 industry awards with 442 nominations. It's won a Peabody. It's won the Primetime Emmy. It's also grossed over $3 billion in television revenue.
Yeah, it was back when TV could do that. This is harder to do now, but it used to be that if you got a TV show that was popular, it was an industry. That was not just your job, not just a group of people's job. It was a full-on industry that ran for 10, 15 years of work for hundreds of people.
It's, pretty remarkable. It was a Michael Crichton pilot, not Michael Crichton movie.
Yeah, so Michael Crichton was a doctor before he was a writer. and he wrote a movie about, I think it was 24 hours in an emergency room. No one wanted it. And then Jurassic Park happened. He now had a relationship with Steven Spielberg. He showed the script to Steven Spielberg, and Spielberg said, what if this was a TV show? And so the pilot episode of ER is almost word for word Michael Crichton's movie script, except for they had to shorten it by about 15 minutes, and they added a woman and a black person because Michael Crichton did not.
Yeah, which is, again, listen, this is the 90s television, but it's nice that NBC is at least being like, hey, can we at least try to make it look like the actual world? Because there are actual women and black people who are doctors. Like, can we try?
Yeah, I mean, this seems to be a running theme in the shows we cover, is that showrunners have to be pulled dragging and screaming into casting black people and women after Seinfeld being literally forced against their wishes to add the best performer on the show.
Yep.
So what is your background? You have, I think, pretty significant background with the show.
Yep. I watched it when it was on, when it first started in 94, which at that point I was 8 years old. So that's interesting that
I would say too young for the show.
To be up at 10 p.m. on a Thursday night watching ER. I remember watching the pilot. I do. I remember watching it. We watched it because we watched Must See TV. This was in the Thursday night at 10 p.m. slot the entire time it was on. So this was, one of the anchors of Must See TV. Warren Littlefield, who was the president of NBC at the time, was a protege of Brandon Tartikoff, who Brandon Tartikoff made the soil for Must See TV. And then Warren Littlefield grew the flowers of Seinfeld and Cheers and The Cosby Show out of that soil. So with Frasier, Friends, Caroline in the City, Third Rock from the Sun, Suddenly Susan, Just Shoot Me, Will and Grace, The West Wing, all of these are Brandon Tartikoff as president of NBC. So I watched it, and I watched it when it was on. I watched it with my mom. My mom loves a medical drama. She was very into Saint Elsewhere, which I didn't watch because I was too young for that. I watched ER when it was on. I loved it. Part of the reason I'm a doctor today is because of ER.
It's very funny that the one medical drama I watched, because I only watched one, is the only one you didn't watch, which was House.
I watched House.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
I thought I remembered that you.
I didn't
House
watch
was one you skipped.
No, I watched a lot of House, but I didn't. I stopped watching TV so much when I went to college.
Oh, look at you studying.
Studying, driving through the woods, smoking a blunt.
So what's your nostalgia for the show? I know that you wanted to watch The Pit because of that ER nostalgia. What is your feelings toward it?
Yeah, I loved it. Going back and watching it, I'm coming off of watching The Pit and going back into watching the show. It is like looking at a Picasso and then looking at a 3-year-old's drawing of a Picasso. It's just there's been so much has been advanced in the times, and they're also just very different script wise.
There's just a higher expectation now, I think, both in the scripts but also in the acting. I think people are holding themselves to a higher standard as TV actors than they were in ER.
I'm not saying it's a higher standard. It's a different situation. So ER is doing 22 episodes a season, right? So they're cranking out an episode literally every week. Whereas I'm sure they took months to make The Pit, and they only made, what was The Pit, 16 episodes?
Yeah, something.
No, it was 14 episodes because it was each shift was a. And then
each episode is an hour in his shift, and I think it's a 13-14 hour shift.
So well, they all run late on The Pit, not to spoil anyone. But so they're just very different shows. Just how the episodes are structured, how the characterizations are. It's definitely still a medical drama. We're seeing patients. We're having the life and death stakes, as we talked about when we were covering House and MASH.
Other than Law and Order, this might be the one I have the least background with. I never watched a single episode. I knew almost nothing about it. The only thing I knew was that we watched The Pit together, and I knew that The Pit, legally, I shouldn't say this, but I'm not involved in the lawsuit, is a spiritual sequel to ER. I knew that. So I kind of figured it was a similar vibe, but the only thing I knew was George Clooney, and I was very excited to see George Clooney in the TV role that made him famous. And we will get to the question of, do we get to see George Clooney? I remember, because I watched all the Batman movies as a kid, and when George Clooney was Batman, I remember reading in an interview where he talked about they were shooting ER and Batman on the same studio lot, and basically because he was shooting both at once, he was not sleeping, and it was just, he was like, I would just look down, and if I was in Scrubs, I would start acting ER, and if I was in a Batman suit, I would start acting Batman, and that is how we made that. So that is what I knew about ER.
And you had never seen an episode of it.
I not to my knowledge. I mean, it's possible. Like, my sister will always be surprised when I say I didn't watch something, and she's like, "I remember watching it." So it's maybe I saw it and just forgot it, but I have no memory of watching it.
Well, you can sort of come into ER. Every episode is almost a one-off. There are the characters, and there's definitely some character stories, but because it's ran for so long and there was so much cast turnover, you kind of can just slot in and catch up real quick.
Yeah, we'll get to, because our worst episode, which we'll get to in a moment, was a very part of an ongoing plot episode, and yet everything was so simple and based on such obvious archetypes that it felt very easy to follow what was happening, even though I had no background with these characters.
The worst episode, season 12, episode 1, Cañon City.
Cañon City, spelled with the Spanish Ñ. I think I'm saying that right. The character played by, what's the name of that actress who is famous?
Linda Cardellini. Let's just maybe go to...
I know. So
we don't have to do what's the name of this actress.
Linda Cardellini,
plays Sam on the show.
Her son is diabetic and needs insulin, but has also run away from home to try to find his father, who he has never met because he's in prison in Iowa.
Colorado, Cañon City.
Okay. And so Sam and the doctor with the thick accent,
Luca,
who looks... God, what's the name of... I'm having a series of what's the name of those guys. The guy from No Country for Old Men.
He's like a Benicio del Toro type guy. It's Goran Visnik.
Yeah, it's like what if Benicio del Toro was in TV?
He is. If you're a practical fan of the Practical Magic film, he's the boyfriend in Practical Magic that they. Yeah, if you're a fan.
He is Croatian, so that is what a Croatian accent sounds like. The two of them go searching across the country in a very boring and slow way for this kid who may or may not be in a diabetic coma because he doesn't have his insulin. Meanwhile, in a completely unrelated plot that does not tie into the other one at all, back at the ER, a number of the medical students are now R2s and have new responsibilities and new teaching responsibilities, and we see each of them struggle with that in different ways. And that is the episode. It ends with them finding the kid and her telling Benicio del Toro alike that she does not want a relationship with him because she does not want another kid, and he does.
Yes. Well, because his children were killed.
That was not imparted to me in the episode.
Yeah.
So that would have been some context. That would have been good to know.
Yeah. And they had the Sam and Luca, there was it was a kind of a relationship that you will they, won't they, yes they are, we're into it. Yeah. So this is the beginning of their breakup. And so two completely unrelated stories.
They felt pretty broken up by the end of it. She's like, I don't want this, and walked away.
Yes. So we're on location shooting with Sam and Luca as they drive around looking for this kid. And then we're in the hospital with the rest of the team as they figure out how to handle day one of being R2s and welcoming new interns.
This was the premiere of episode 12. And it was, as I just said, kind of the first time we've had an episode that is very clearly in the middle of an ongoing plot. We watched the whole previously on, although ultimately, other than, some context about his kids had been killed would have helped understand the emotional moments in the episode. The plot itself was easy to follow. One note is this was the last appearance of Sherry Stringfield. She disappears after this episode with no plot explanation. And she was the very last of the original cast from the first two seasons to go. So this was the very last episode of the series that had any members of the original cast in it. Laura Innes was then the oldest cast member. She joined in season 3. I don't know. Bad episode, for sure. I could see why.
Yeah, and we have our reasons why. We're on location, so we're out of the hospital for a chunk of the episode, which is, difficult. It's also basically a two-hander between Linda Cardellini and Goran Visnik. I'm going to say your name wrong, and I'm so sorry. It's basically a two-hander there, and we're on location, but it's so fast-paced, because ER is fast-paced, that we're jumping from scene to scene so quickly that there's not really time to make two-hander dialogue work. I feel like you need a little bit more back and forth in order for, us to be able to, as an audience member, to be able to grab onto what we're seeing and what's happening, but they're just moving back and forth. They go back and forth from the police station, 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, we don't need to do this. They're like in the house, they're on the road, they're at a gas station. Like there's so many different places so quickly that it's like kind of hard to get on.
Geographically,
Yeah.
I had no idea where they were at any time.
Yeah. And like, it's kind of hard to like latch on to this couple that's breaking up because we're moving too quickly. And then we're in the ER where we're also moving too quickly, which sort of works for it, what we're doing, because we're seeing 3 different residences' approaches to teaching interns and how they're all wrong. And so that's kind of fun and funny and bouncing back and forth. It's like an ER that's sort of working.
But even there, we have this weird thing where, as you said, we have these 3 different residents, but it's not like at the same time. We just follow one of them, and then a third of the way through the episode, we follow a different one, and then a different one. And none of those have any resolution. We just move on from them, and then eventually the episode ends.
Well, that's kind of how ER works, though, is that there's not a lot of resolution. There's like some continual, like with our main characters, there's continual plots that run through. But like we're not going to follow a patient's journey from, them entering the ER to them, moving on with the rest of their lives.
I guess I mean just even some sense of like, oh, I have a new responsibility and I have to do it. Like they just kind of are teaching badly and they're like, you're teaching badly, and then they disappear and we move to the next R2. It felt weirdly unfinished to me.
That's going to be a feeling you might have with ER. Yes, it was a little bit like that. I agree. But yeah, it's because we're splitting the difference here. We're not in the ER the whole time. We are like on this sort of crazy, weird road trip.
Which really feels like, for all of the fast pace, like moving around places you talked about, there's also a real sense of like filling for time. It really felt like this script turned out shorter than they wanted it to, and they had to figure out how to fill time. Because there's one point where they think the kid might be in a hospital. Instead of getting them pulling up to the hospital and jumping out of the car and running in, we get this weird full minute of them looking for the hospital and being kind of lost, and then finding the turn, and then looking for a parking spot and parking. And there is no character dynamic in any of it. It's just kind of a weird series of like practical steps they take.
They paid for the location. They're going to use the location.
It's just like, it's such a classic thing of like, if I know someone needs to get somewhere urgently, just have them squeal to a stop in a parking spot and jump out. I understand the rest of it. I understand that they drove there, but they give us the entire drive in really exacting and tedious detail. They're not wearing scrubs. We talked about this. They're wearing doctor coats over just like kind of office wear. And I don't know if that's like a thing. But then we watched an older episode and they were wearing scrubs, because we had maybe the theory that maybe there was a change in like hospitals as to what doctors wore. But an older episode, they were wearing scrubs. In this one, they are all wearing like, the men have ties on and stuff, but they're wearing lab coats over it.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like scrubs is the better thing for all the like blood and stuff that you're going to get on your clothes. I have the note, kid sucking titty old. And that was just a funny beat where a woman is like, is there a place I can breastfeed? And then she has like a 7-year-old with her. And it was a funny little joke. There's a point where we're watching her driving on a highway. And I don't think this was intentional. I think it's possible they were on a real highway and we're just in like a camera rigged car driving pretty slow. But they are driving so slow that there are like big rigs pulling around and passing her. The car appears to be going like 20 miles per hour on a highway.
When you put on your resume that you have a valid driver's license, you got to mean it.
I mean, I would guess they were like on the back of a truck, and for like camera steadiness reasons, the truck was going like 20 miles per hour. And so just everyone was passing them.
Yeah.
There's a long scene in which a bird shits on a windshield. Just another one of these filling time things. There's a point where the ER is just completely dark, which it's overnight, but maybe I'm wrong about this. It's possible. I don't think ERs just turn off the lights at night. I think like an ER is a pretty bright place. Yeah. 24 hours a day.
I was talking with my mom about this yesterday. She's like, the show's just dark. It's just like not really lit all that great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. It was like all of the patients were in these like pools of light in like this dark ER.
I don't know why it's possible, because this is like they built an ER set. Was an ER set at Warner Brothers where they made every episode of the show except for like the first one, which they shot in an old hospital. So yeah, it's possible that this is just stylistically different than what we're used to.
Yeah, it maybe was a choice. Although I feel like the other 2 episodes, I didn't notice it being super dark. It was just like, weirdly, this one was a little muddy. This episode was written by 3 people. We got John Wells,
So John Wells is the creator of this show. Well, what is he? He's the showrunner of this show.
Yeah, when they created the show from his script, they hired John Wells to be like, take this movie script and turn it into a TV show.
Yeah, he executive produced the pilot, and then when it picked up, he was the showrunner and head writer.
And was the showrunner for most of its run. He was eventually replaced in the mid-2000s, probably soon after this.
Yeah.
He now writes for The Pit, although he did not create it. Another ER guy created The Pit. But he now writes for it. He also created the American version of Shameless and was one of the showrunners of The West Wing during its very long run.
Yeah, showrunner for the 5th season of The West Wing.
He's just a kind of a big-time TV guy.
Does a great job. Great job.
Yeah, I imagine like if you want a steady hand on a show, he's just like a guy you hire. His very first credit is on a movie called Nice Girls Don't Explode from 1987, about a teen girl who causes flames to erupt around her when she gets horny. And so that's just a little note that you can start anywhere, you know?
But yeah, written by a number of people, which I think John Wells as the showrunner is going to take a little credit on that. And then written by Lisa Zwirling. She's a doctor and a writer, and she's written on other medical shows. It was really important for ER to be as medically accurate as possible within the confines of it being a television show. So like they wanted to try to get as much right as possible, and then they had to bend a little bit of things here and there to make it actually work in a dramatic sense.
Yeah, 2 out of the 3 writers on this episode, which maybe is the problem given that there's very little medical stuff in this episode, but 2 out of the 3 writers were doctors. We have Lisa Zwirling, who this was one of her first jobs. The only job she did before this was another hospital show. She's done other stuff that she's currently writing on a Walking Dead spinoff. And the other one was Joe Sachs, who started as ER's technical advisor in the first season before becoming a writer in the second season. He wrote all the way to the end of ER and then just fully stopped writing, has no TV credits until he now writes on The Pit.
Works on The Pit, yep.
So he just writes ER and ER-related shows. But maybe that's some of the issue, is we kind of had our doctor writers writing an episode that was not very doctor-focused.
Yeah, that wasn't in the hospital. So, yeah, possible.
And it was directed by Christopher Chulak, who has directed a lot of stuff, but most notably, he directs a lot of John Wells stuff.
Yeah.
Like, clearly, this is a guy that John Wells likes to hire.
And he began working on ER in the first season.
Shall we get to our intermission?
What's that, bud? The Lincoln Summer Sales event is on now with exclusive offers? Oh, so you want to feel the wind pouring through the available open panoramic vista roof on a road trip? And spend the afternoon beachside hanging out on the back of the spacious Lincoln Splitgate? Okay, I'll schedule a Lincoln test drive today, right before your vet appointment. Visit your local Lincoln retailer or learn more at Lincoln.com.
Intermission.
Our intermission is, how is that theme song?
I think it's a great theme song. I don't think it's like one of the greatest theme songs of all time. No, I don't. Do I think it's completely serviceable for ER? Yes, I do. It feels like we get the dramatic tension, we get the urgency of it. There's like random beeping in it. So
I hated this theme song. I can't. It just made no impression on me. This was the worst opening credits yet. I thought the opening credits looked very bad. And I also just, the theme song didn't. Maybe if I watched it 100 times, it would start to like worm its way in, but I just found it kind of a nothing of a song. It was written by James Newton Howard, who is an unbelievably prolific composer. Mostly movies. He's been nominated for an Oscar 9 times, starting with Prince of Tides in 1992, although notably has never won. He doesn't do TV as much, but he did recently write the theme for Emily in Paris. I give this one a 2 out of 10.
I give it a 6 out of 10.
All right. Let's get to the best episode. Meg, what is the best episode of ER?
Best episode is season 6, episode 14, All in the Family.
Yeah, this is the one where one of them dies. I don't remember her name. Lucy. This is the one where Lucy dies. Her and Dr. Carter, who is Noah Wiley's character, get stabbed by a patient played by
David Krumholtz.
David Krumholtz, my just favorite character actor of all time. Every time I see David Krumholtz, I'm like, that guy. Love that guy.
Yep.
So he is a patient with schizophrenia who thinks they are like nefariously drugging him. And so he stabs Lucy and Dr. Carter. Most of the episode is spent trying to save the two of them. And then there is, of course, the side plot of trying to find the guy who did it. and ultimately they are able to save Noah Wyle, and Lucy dies.
Lucy Knight, played by Kelly Martin, who was just looking for a way off of that show.
Yeah, she basically quit. They never figured out what to do with her character, and she had some real-life family medical stuff that made her really not want to be on a hospital set, and so she basically quit, which resulted in the best-rated episode of ER, so maybe it was a good decision for the show.
It was a good episode, I think. I mean, there's a lot of medicine being practiced. There's a lot of surgery being practiced.
Yeah, it's a very urgent episode. It definitely reminded me a bit of later season episodes in The Pit, once things start really popping off and there's really urgent stuff and everyone's locked in. It had that feeling, although not as good. Like it just wasn't able to convey that feeling as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. The episode starts out where everyone is like kind of messing around. It's like Valentine's Day. They're like eating pizza and having cake. They're having this like sort of big party, and they're like, the ER is so quiet. We're having a party. And this is all while with the audience, which is this sort of a two-parter, because in the previous episode, the stabbing occurred. And so we walk into the ER and they're having a party. They don't know that these two characters are bleeding out somewhere in the hospital.
Yeah, they weren't shown on the same night. It was the week before, so I decided it didn't count as the second part of a two-parter, but it was kind of an end of an episode cliffhanger, the stabbing.
Yeah, and so when we come back to the show, they're having a party, and like when we last left the show, there were two of these beloved characters bleeding out on the floor. And then we come back and they're having a party, and then Dr. Weaver discovers them.
So the first episode we watched, I forgot to mention, no George Clooney. Also no Noah Wyle, who is the other guy I know from ER. This time we finally get Noah Wyle, and he spends 90% of the episode unconscious.
We also get like a sort of a Juliana Margulies cameo.
Was she still on the cast then?
Yeah, she's in the top of the episode. She's like, I'm tired, I'm going home.
And she doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Yeah, and no George Clooney in this one either. No. So we are 2 for 2, no George Clooney. The Middleist is our only hope there.
Yep.
I have the note, medical shows are just about intubating people.
Well, that's a lot of the ER. ER is the airway, right?
Yeah. It's just so much of The Pit and then so much of both this one and I think The Middleist, which was kind of the other one in the ER, is just like, let's watch them intubate a guy.
Yeah, they do a lot of intubating. I bet these actors could probably do it if they had to.
I'd be curious about that. There's lots of good moving through the set. I feel like the direction is really good in terms of like they have this big continuous set. Yeah. And they're like, let's really use it. There's lots of like characters in one continuous shot running from one part of the ER to the other. This real sense of a real space. Mm-hmm. That was nice. I have viewers love an emergency.
Yeah.
We like it when things are really, really going off the rails.
And we like it when we can see our characters be smart and fix things and like put it together. I remember watching this episode when it was on. I remember like being sort of devastated by it because Lucy kind of knows she's going to die. Like they do really intense surgery on her, life-saving procedures on her. They cut her chest open in the ER, like it's bad. And then they get her stable. And then she has a pulmonary embolism and she knows it. And then, then they struggle to save her, which is interesting for the character of Rocket Romano is also working with Dr. Corday to save her. Rocket Romano's kind of a dick character, but then he like really is very difficult losing her for him.
Yeah, they give another side to his character because we get this real sense of like, yes, he's mean to everyone, but he really cares.
Yeah. So what he says to her when she's awake is like, we wouldn't let you die. We've invested too much of our time in you, which is like kind of a dick thing to say.
Yeah.
And then he has a lot of trouble.
There's so many cast members. I could not follow who most of them were because I just had no background for them. And there was just a lot of them rapid fire. So I just kind of let it wash over me and mostly did not differentiate people. I'm like, these are all people at the hospital. I don't really know who they are yet.
Yeah. There's this sort of struggle that's going on at the hospital is for some reason the hospital is still open, despite the fact that there was like there's a person who stabbed two doctors
loose on somewhere in it.
And their hospitals, so they're still taking patients. And so Dr. Benton, played by Art LaSalle, is working on Noah Wyle. Noah Wyle, this is background, was a protege of Dr. Benton. When Noah Wyle didn't start in the ER, he was originally a surgical intern. And so like they have a very close relationship. And so Dr. Benton's trying to save Noah Wyle's life, but then is getting called away to do another procedure.
Yes, the other background I didn't get until after, which kind of helped me understand what was going on is the whole premise of Noah Wyle and Lucy's characters is that they hated each other. She was like very by the book and he was the bad boy, and they were like constantly getting in fights. That was kind of her entire character, as she was by the book. And like the last thing, the episode before that leads up to the stabbing, she keeps being like, I think this guy needs psychiatric help, and he kept dismissing her. And like the last thing he said to her was something really mean. And then he kind of, for the rest of the series, there's like the character beat of he blames himself for her death.
As you should.
Yeah. Because, she was right.
Mm-hmm.
When she dies, and I could see their thought process of like, I really want to drive the pain home. But they have like the machine she's hooked up to beeping. And it does this loud, high-pitched, continuous beep that they let run for almost a minute. And I had to turn the TV volume almost all the way down because it just was so hard for me to, like, it just was such an annoying sound for such a long time. Bad choice, in my opinion, artistically.
It's life in the ER, baby. This episode won an Emmy for
Won
editing.
an Emmy for it's for sound, right?
For editing.
Editing.
Yeah. It was nominated for sound editing, sound mixing. So maybe the choice to have that beeping, Joseph, was Emmy nominated.
Speaking of editing, there's a bizarre... we're in the era of TV where we have that like quick fade out to black to show we're going to a commercial. And there's this absolutely bizarre commercial transition where like a scene ends and then we cut to, it's not even a C plot, it's like a D plot. There's two doctors who are dating and their parents happen to be there that day. His dad and her mom, I want to say. And they like talk a bit. And we just cut from a scene that has ended to her mom waking up, and then it immediately blacks out to commercial. And it just is truly a baffling commercial break placement. I do not understand that.
Well, the editing on this episode won an Emmy, so.
Yeah, just I guess I'm not getting these choices. There's a transphobic joke there at the end that's like done as like, Lucy could be a fun person because she did this transphobic joke once. Mm-hmm. It's sort of told as like this nostalgic fun thing she did.
Well, she didn't do it. The joke was played on her.
I thought she played it on him.
No, he played it on her.
It was a Noah Wyle transphobic joke.
Well, it wasn't Noah Wyle.
Okay, you're right. Let's not cancel Noah Wyle. It was Dr. John Carter, the bad boy of the ER. And I liked the ending. It was a nice ending of like, patients start coming in and they have to start getting back to the business of the ER in the sense of like, even though they've all suffered this major loss, the work of it never ends and they just have to keep going.
Yeah, you were not free to abandon it.
And then we get the credits are all over a screenshot from the episode, but it's never like a dramatic or interesting shot. It always looks like the kind of shot where you've paused it to go to the bathroom and it just happens to be at a weird, awkward moment. And so it's just like someone smiling and their eyes are half closed. In this case, it's a shot of Lucy smiling with her eyes half closed, looking like I paused it to go to the bathroom. Just weird choices all around. This episode was written by two people, Jack Orman. Not a ton to say about him. He wrote on a few different shows. He created Pan Am, that show that ran for one season.
A number of people from ER went on to do Pan Am, which I loved.
I never watched it.
Loved
Didn't it
Pan
have
Am.
an actress who
Christina Ricci.
Wasn't there someone else who wasn't famous, became famous? I'm remembering something. His first job was writing for a one-season Mary Tyler Moore sitcom called New York News that did not go anywhere.
He also wrote on Jag. A lot of people wrote on Jag. I was a producer on Jag.
And then it's also written by Linda Gase. This was her first writing job. She still writes stuff, nothing super notable, just kind of, I would say, describe as like mid-level TV. Her very first job was production assistant on a 1989 movie called Loverboy, about a pizza delivery guy who ends up being a male prostitute for women he delivers to. So that's where she got started. And then the director, we have the closest thing we've had so far to like a celebrity director. So the director was Jonathan Kaplan, who also directed movies. He directed The Accused, which won Jodie Foster a Best Actress Oscar. His last movie was Broke Down Palace, that one about going to Thai prison for drugs that starred Claire Danes and Kate Beckinsale. He's kind of the biggest name we've had so far. He's not just a TV guy.
Directed a ton of TV.
He did direct a ton of TV. His father was a film composer who got blacklisted during the McCarthy era.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, not nice, I guess. Now that you've seen these again, how have your feelings about the show changed?
I still have the same nostalgia for it. And I love medical drama. I'm always going to love medical drama, whether it's full-on 90s or it's, the 2025 The Pit. I thought I would not notice such a stark difference between it and The Pit as far in terms of just style and quality, but there's a pretty big ravine between the two of them. However, I would still happily watch any episode of ER. I'm into it.
Yeah, that's one of the other questions is if I was like, hey, let's watch ER from the beginning, you would be on board? Again,
I wouldn't watch the entire, there's 331 episodes, and listen, life is long, but it's not that long. But I would, if it was not like, I would watch
if it was on at your mom's house.
Yeah, I'd watch an episode or two of it for sure and enjoy it. I don't know, I've come to this place in my life where I feel like the rewatching of entire series is maybe not the time I want to spend.
And that's a good thing, and that's what this show is for. It allows us to really just hit a series at its
best and its worst, and its middle list worst for you to try. How do you feel about it, Joseph, now that you have watched episodes of it?
Yeah, I'm disappointed at not getting to see like young TV actor George Clooney, which was kind of the main thing I was going in looking forward to. I would say it was worse than I expected. I think I also expected it to be kind of like The Pit, and I found it to be a little more clumsy and like soap opera-y than The Pit in a way that was not fun to watch. I think I just wanted more of what made The Pit interesting, which was just like the day-to-day business of an ER and the patients coming in. And I think this was the nature of both episodes were big plot episodes. And so there just wasn't much of that, which I wanted. I don't think I would seek out another episode of ER. I think this was probably good for me.
All right. Well, that's ER.
What's our next show, our sitcom?
The next show is a show that's still running. It's our sitcom. It's our first animated. Guys, we're doing The Simpsons.
I'm looking forward to this because, and I am possibly going to eat my words. My feeling is like the worst of The Simpsons is still going to be pretty fine to watch.
It's just such a big undertaking. So it's like, who knows what we're going to get? There's been, 800 episodes of The Simpsons?
Something like that. It's
a lot.
It has been running almost as long as we've been alive. It started in 1989. So
yeah,
we're talking about something that is almost as old as us. Wild that it's still going.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening. Check out our Patreon-only show, The Middleist, where we will be discussing the exact Middleist-rated episode to see what the show looks like when everything is average. And that episode is Season 7, Episode 17, Survival of the Fittest. Will I finally get to see George Clooney? Find out only on the Patreon episode. See you there.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bum, ba-da, bum.